G family, how is everybody doing out there? How are all the rising signs? Scorpio, how are you? How have you guys been holding up during this time? I am glad to connect in with you guys. I love doing your rising sign readings. When I look at your rising sign and I see you guys here energetically, I'm touching in with you energetically, like I feel it. I feel you when I see this. I understand you. I hear you. So welcome. Comment, subscribe, hit that like button, tap that bell. You, the most current uploads, so that you stay in the know. You can take the next correct step. I become you when I see your stuff. I become you. And I say, if this was me, this is what I'd do. You are right where you belong. Welcome to the All Astrology family. All right, Scorpios, this is yours. We are burning some sacred cedar for you guys, right? Got a lot going on, trying times. But at the same time, Scorpio is the phoenix, right? You burn down all the way to the ashes and then rise up seemingly out of nothing. That's what I'm talking about. Scorpio energy. Let's find out where this out of bounds Mercury is in your chart. Mercury began its out of bounds like on the 15th of May. And then Mercury moves, right? We've got Mercury at the end of May going into the sign of Cancer. So your Gemini energy, okay, for the first part of May, you had Mercury sitting there in Gemini in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is your deeply bonded relationships. It's the house in which we merge our energy. Some people say it's the house where we literally merge our physical bodies. Some people call it the house of sex. It's more of an energetic house, though. It's not so much about the physical. It's about merging our energy fields and merging past life stuff, right? It's souls that we've connected with from other lifetimes, because Mars is the ruler of this house, is the ruler of Scorpio. But at the same time, Pluto is also the ruler of Scorpio energy. So wherever you see Scorpio in your chart, you realize that when you have planets there, or if you're following along, you can make connections to people and you see, whoa, this is someone where we've had past experiences with. And if it wasn't in this life, no doubt it was in other lifetimes. Now, Mercury leaving, Mercury in that 8th house meant there was a lot of thinking going on, excessive thinking about committed one-on-one relationships, right? There was talking, thinking, communicating. Now, when I say obsessive, that might be harsh because there could be other factors in your chart where it balances it out, but Mercury went out of bounds on the 15th. And so anytime a planet goes out of bounds, it's acting more extreme, okay? We have less control over it, which means like you're trying to sleep and your mind's constantly running, right? Or you're just sitting there talking to somebody and all these other things are popping in. You know, it's like you can't stay focused, because Gemini energy likes to be doing a lot of things. It likes to be busy. It moves fast. That's Mercury energy. Mercury's got wings. It flies. It's very artsy and creative. This is the sign of the writer. So information that you were getting this month, I know I did a video in the first part of the month. If you haven't watched it, you're going to want to watch it for Scorpio, Ascendant Scorpio rising, because having this Gemini energy in your 8th house, this is a great time. When the information comes, write it down, because there's this excessive information and overabundance of information coming through. So you can produce a lot of material during this time. And what I love about this placement, Gemini in the 8th, is you can talk about deep stuff. Not on the surfacey piss, right? You're not talking about, going shopping and how you're missing going to the mall, but you're talking about stuff that really hits home with a lot of people, that resonates with other souls. And so you can have a mass amount of information coming out, of product, right? Of quality content that you can then take to the social media platform, because Gemini is social media. So you would be super successful at sharing your knowledge, sharing your wisdom, sharing the Mercurian information that comes through on these sorts of platforms. Now, let's not forget that Gemini energy is our siblings. So there's this connectivity, deep bonds with siblings, with people in your community, with individuals that feel like siblings, okay? So now all this is going to change, because Mercury being out of bounds and staying out of bounds until June 11th, right? So we have this excessive thinking, but it goes to the next sign. So when you look in your chart, You know, you want to find out, you want to see where your houses line up with these degrees and the signs. See if your Cancer energy is still in your 8th house or if it then moves to your 9th house. If you don't know, just comment your digits below and I can make sure to tell you for sure where that happens for you in your life. Now, when we switch from Gemini to Cancer, Cancer is more of feelings. It's more of an inner thing. It's more of an emotion. It's more of emotional security and comfort, emotional satisfaction. Cancer is the moon, so it's things about being a mom, things about who my mom was and how she was a mom, or if I didn't have a mom, or if there was an individual in my life that stepped in as a mom, that felt like a mom, okay? There's all these things about home and family, nurturing, emotional security, because this is Cancer energy. So when Mercury goes there, there's a shift. There's a shift from talking, thinking, communicating, you know, writing, where emotions come flooding in now. This typically would be in your 9th house. So 9th house energy then becomes our beliefs. It's the placement of higher learning. What I'm liking is I see the evolution of this for you, all right? If you've got all this deep thinking and this overthinking that was happening in the 8th house, you know, in terms of siblings, and then it goes from siblings to family and home, and of course siblings still make that up, and then now we include mom into that picture because it's Cancer, and our emotional security connected to that, our feelings connected to that. 9th house is the house of the publisher. All right, a lot of people don't talk about that. It is higher learning, but it's now you've taken all this stuff, all this content you created, and you're able to then go and publish it, right? It's that 9th house. It's the next phase. It's the growth. It's the progression. Now, 9th house is also this teaching thing, right? Either you take on additional classes or you become the teacher. Right? It's this additional learning. It's I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take some classes, some seminars, webinars, whatever it is, and I'm going to be just diving in with that, because if with Mercury there, you're going to need that. It's going to then satisfy you. All right? Which, by the way, if you're watching this video and if you don't know, we have a super extremely high quality astrology course, right? Even if you're like not brand new at astrology, it is super affordable. The links are down below for that. This would be a great time to focus and hone in on that, because Cancer energy takes you back and really lets you dive into your tribe, into your roots. And astrology is a tool that assists with that in a really big way. Once Mercury gets there, okay, and its focus is there, it's going to lessen after the 11th. Okay, now June is a really interesting month, okay, because of the fact that we have these eclipses. But before I dip into the eclipses, let me focus a little bit more on the new moon energy we had near mid-May. Mid-May, of course, we had that Mercury thing, right? And then on the 22nd was the new moon, okay? And the new moon was 2 degrees of Gemini, right? More Gemini energy, right? For the month of May, you've got like 5 things in Gemini. So there's just, other than Mercury being out of bounds, right? I mean, it's no wonder we're having extreme communications going on, where when someone's talking, people are responding with action. Like they're trying to one up the communication factor. Like, okay, you said this to me, right? Like, what else do you do after you flip someone the finger, right? Or you've done like that whole thing. You do all these gestures. What's the next step you can take in a powerful way of communicating? Well, we're seeing that. Some people are going to really dangerous next steps and they're grabbing weapons, right? And we're reading about all this really extreme ways of receiving information, and then a lack of processing it, and a lack of being able to simply talk, right, and respond, where we're taking action with it, okay? So we're looking for that to evolve and change and take a higher meaning, but the cause of that, Piscean waters typically usually calm down the Martian energy. Remember, Mars is the soldier. Mars uses weapons, okay, because it's the soldier. Mars doesn't want to be held back, doesn't want to be told it can't do something, is not a fan of the Piscean energy, because Piscean energy is more reserved, is more okay, you're not going to be the first one out of the gate. You're going to slow down. You're going to take a step back. You need to kind of be in solitude. But see, Mars would rather be the leader. Well, you can only be a leader if there's others following you. Well, if there's nobody following you, then you're not a leader. So Mars, there could be a level of frustration in that placement. So seeing where 6 degrees of Pisces is in your chart, seeing where 6 degrees of Gemini is will help. Okay, so let me break this down for you right here. You've got your Mercury energy, again, in your 8th house, right? Because that's where Gemini is, okay? The Mars energy is in Pisces, and your Piscean energy for Scorpio ascendant is in your 5th house. So what that would mean, 5th house energy, okay, is my children, right? 5th house energy is, romance, like my, whoever I'm having a good time with my body. So if you're married, this is your spouse. If you're not married, it's somebody else you're having a good time with, but maybe not having a good time with because Mars is being told, hey, you need to stay in place. You can't go out and have a good time right now. So there's a square, right? You've got that tight square, and it tightens up even more after the new moon. If you hadn't already had a new moon, and I don't know if I'll even have this video done by the new moon, but the big thing about the new moon is having an intention of how we can all learn basically just how to get along better as a group, right? It is focused on community because it's Gemini, right? The moon's at 2 degrees Gemini, the sun's at 2 degrees. So it's all about how to operate within my community. It's business, it's trade, it's bartering, it's sales, it's communication, it's the social media. It's how can we get along? How can we utilize each other's skill set wherever we're at in that skill set? Where I say, hey, I don't know how to do that, but I know how to do this. I don't know, I have no clue how to even go there, right? But you know how to do that, and you don't know how to do what I know how to do, so let's trade, right? Let's learn how to work together. And that's really what this intention and this focus, what this energy is saying. This is where the frequencies are at. Also, the North Node being in Gemini for the next 18 months is an extra emphasis on this of let's learn how to operate at a high level within our community. Remember, Gemini is also gardening, right? So this is the best expression of this Mars and Pisces squaring Mercury is really this, squaring the sun, squaring the moon and the emotions is really more of let's operate in a way where if we have this intense energy, let's focus it. Let's direct it. And let's, spiritual action, that's Mars and Pisces on a high level. Spiritual activity. What are spiritual activities, right? Meditation, being involved in a ceremony of some sort. Some people, it is a very spiritual activity for them to just light a candle and to be alone, right? Maybe burn some incense. Whatever that is for you, okay? Some people, it's to be actively involved in creating something with their hands. And that could be gardening, because it's Gemini, right? Virgo energy too. Mercury rules Virgo. And so we are being asked to really figure that out for ourselves. If you don't know, this is that opportunity. This is that time where it's okay. You don't have any excuses. There's no, there's no outwardly things that you have to attend to because you're being told you can't go. Although some states are already open. Where I live, I'm in Illinois. Our state doesn't open up officially until June 1st. And we'll see what happens. We'll see how that's going to look. Taking the new moon energy and then going to the few days after, the moon gets tighter with Mars, emotions, remember. Emotions squaring Mars. And then a couple days later, like the 26th, you're going to have the sun squaring Mars exactly. It's like 4 days later. Mars squaring the sun squaring Mars. The sun, it's again, because it's in Gemini, it is the same thing being squared in essence. But in a way, it might be even stronger because it's the sun squaring. The sun is power, it's energy. It's what we're lighting up. And it's squaring physical, action-orientated Mars, who's frustrated. Mars is frustrated. He doesn't like to be told you need to sit in solitude. Doesn't like to be in murky waters. He would rather be on dry land where he can run fast, where he can charge, where he can be the first out of the gate, and where he's got people following him. And solitude means you have nobody following you. So understanding that by the 26th, there may be even more frustrations that you see. whether it's with people in your life that you're communicating with, because again, this is your 5th house, which is people you're going to be close to, right? It's people that you have a good time with. It's friends, but romantically involved friendships too. And your children. So expect children to really want to be able to get out. The sun is sending beams of energy to Mars. And it's saying we really need to be physical. We really need to be doing something. So make a plan. Do something physical. June, we have the first eclipse on the 5th. Okay, this is 15 degrees of Sagittarius energy. Find out where this is exactly for you. Typically, your Sagittarius energy is all in your 2nd house. This is your house. 2nd house is your income. This is what you value. All right, this is your resources. Sagittarian energy. So Sagittarian is all about freedom, freedom of belief. This is very important. Sagittarian energy is very expansive because Jupiter is the ruler of it. And so it has this, again, it emphasizes this higher learning and my ability to teach. It also emphasizes publishing. It's that 9th house energy I spoke about earlier and seeing the value of it, right? Now, 15 degrees, okay, see if you have a planet there, all right? If you don't know, comment, I can find out for you. Eclipses represent change, and it's a promised change. It's not like, oh, I don't know if that's going to happen. No, it's going to change, because that's what an eclipse is. So if you have something that matches it exactly, and if you don't know what it means, comment. I can find out. I can see it here. I can see it in front of me. I can respond back and let you know, okay, this is what you're going to have to expect. This is how this could possibly look. Okay, remember, you have free will, but we do know that these energies have like a multitude of ways in which they do express. Now, see if you have something opposing it. So that would be in your 8th house, right? Because you have Sag in your 2nd and you have Gemini in your 8th. So whether it's 15 in the 2nd or 15 in the 8th, if you have a planet at either end, this would be significant. You want to know what that's going to mean. Eclipses create change. And this is a change of release, of letting go. It's emotional. I am going to attach the video below where I do a deep dive into this eclipse because there's a whole lot of other things happening. And I show you how it looks on paper. There's a lot. It's deep. It's just something that if you have to make plans, if you have to make choices and decisions, I would want to know in advance some of the things, some of the other players, some of the other planets that are involved at the time. Now, after that June 5th eclipse, there's another one. And it's like 2 weeks later. It's on the 21st of June. This is being called the mega eclipse because it has some distinguishing factors involved, okay? It's at 0 degrees Cancer energy. So your Cancer energy for you, Scorpio, is located up in your 9th house again. All right, we talked about your 9th house earlier, right? When I talked about publishing and putting your emotions to paper, or maybe it's not on paper. Maybe you talk, maybe you do YouTube, maybe you start vlogging. I mean, this is up to you how you want to do it. But what I love about it is that this 0 degrees mark means in your 9th house, there's a change coming. And this lights up that that Sagittarian energy of belief again. Okay, your belief about your emotions, releasing some emotions. There could be fears, right? And so the universe has a way of assisting us with the frequencies that it brings in. Now, this is a cardinal eclipse, but it's like a cardinal eclipse because it has the 0 degree point. And anytime you've got 0 degrees, we call that a cardinal degree because it's 0. Cardinal means it's a kicking off point. It is the beginning of the beginning, right? And then because it's in Cancer, Cancer is a cardinal sign. So cardinal, all right? See if you have something there. And I can help you to figure that out. If you don't know, just comment and we'll take a look for you. But it's definitely tied into emotions. It's definitely tied into a change coming. And because it's in the 9th house, again, it's publishing, it's higher learning, it's continuing education, it's I am becoming the teacher, I can publish. It's also the house of travel, long distance journeys. My 9th house has been lit up big time in the last year. I've done no traveling. However, I've done no traveling in the 3D world. Okay, I have Capricorn in my 9th house, so this makes sense. My 9th house has been like on a shutdown when it comes to the 3D way because Saturn transited through there, okay? You see me now. I'm on, right? I'm online. And so even though I can't physically travel, I'm able to touch in with folks all over the world, regardless of where they live. And so that 9th house, even though it has that limitation there, because there was so much energy there, it can expand. It's Jupiter. Jupiter is not limited to the Earth. It is not limited to the 3D realm. So there's a little bit of that that's come in, and it said, you know what? Okay, fine. So you can't move around physically 3D, which is so true in so many ways. And without going into too much detail, you know, prior to this stay home lockdown thing, I've been staying home locking down for, I don't even know how long. I think I'm going on 2 years now. So that's still true, right? And so I see all the layers of truth in it, but I also see the limitlessness within the expansion of each energy. And so for you, that also will be what we're looking at. The expansiveness and the limitlessness of how you can go beyond what you see as a perceived limitation. So publishing, you know, big deal. The next eclipse, that's July. And your July eclipse is like July 4th, actually. Now, this is an eclipse in Capricorn. And this eclipse in Capricorn is the final eclipse of the Cancer Capricorn eclipses. And this is like a huge sigh of relief, a big exhale, because for the last 2 years, the nodes and the eclipses have been occurring in these signs, which means Capricorn energy is our job, our career, our physical structured world, structures that we have built up over time. So it's our banking system, it's our businesses, it's our government, anything that's been a traditional, tangible 3D structure, but on a large scale in our life, is Capricorn energy. And so this is the final eclipse, and your Capricorn energy is in your 3rd house. So this is your talking, thinking, communicating, right? That's what the 3rd house is, right? So realizing that it's been under construction because Saturn and Pluto are there. Well, actually, Saturn's coming back, and so it'll still be under construction, but it's the last eclipse, and this is a good thing. So it shows that there's growth happening, there is progression happening, but yes, Pluto will still be there for about 3 to 4 more years. Comment below. Don't forget to check out those other videos to give you more meaning and more in-depth look as to how you can move forward with the coming energies. And there are different energies coming forward. So stay in the know, comment below, and tap the bell so you can definitely make sure you're getting when the new uploads come so that you are current. All right? Hope this has helped put some light on your path.